So, it looks like Darkest Dungeon 2 is coming up. This means one thing. Actually, no. A teaser was released for it back in February, and since then there was practically no info about it, until recently actually. A little article popped up at the end of November revealing the rough release date to be somewhere around December of 2020. So, is it true? Have we just waited 9 months in hype and anticipation, only to find out that we have to wait yet another year until it's complete? Well, yes. Yes, we did. And you know what? I'm perfectly fine with this. I'd much rather have a masterpiece to rival the first game in a year, instead of a half-finished thing released right now, so let's just all collectively calm down and wait patiently. In the meantime, let's take a look at the first game and see if we've got anything else that's interesting to do in that one. Alrighty then, I remember I still haven't unlocked some of these achievements. Let's see here. Ooh, what's that? Complete the game on Stygian. A Bloodmoon campaign. Oh, I gotcha.
This is the exact thing that I would like to do before I lay my hands on Darkest Dungeon 2.
Oh, and also, spoilers ahead. All, for everything. Please be mindful of that. And so our adventure begins. The very first attempt at the impossible. Starting with every single DLC I could get my hands on. And of course, the Bloodmoon Difficulty. Eesh, nervous already. For those of you who don't know what Bloodmoon is about, basically, you have a limited amount of deaths, limited graves on the graveyard. If you lose as many as 16 heroes, the game is over. Furthermore, you only have 100 weeks to complete your whole campaign, otherwise you also lose. Pretty bad, eh? Well, what can I say? Eldritch horrors wait for no one. In other words, we gotta stay cautious and vigilant, and still we might perish horribly. But this is what's fun about it, isn't it? All set, it's time to begin then. It's just the start, but we immediately run into our first main objective. Don't die and...
Ringing ears, blurred vision.
Yeah, could be a problem. Something else you'll come across on Bloodmoon is this jovial little thing called Transcendent Terror. A nice little touch, story-wise. However, I wouldn't recommend touching it really, as it will bless you with a generous 100 stress points. Absolutely horrible. Except when it isn't. Excellent! A virtue right off the bat. Now we just gotta get to the hamlet safely, which, in all seriousness, isn't that difficult. First week in the hamlet it is. There isn't really much to do here, except one little very important thing that I always forget about. Yeah, but more on that later. What we need to do is hire our first Vestal and Plague Doctor. Next we need to check our skills, pick between usual suspects or Red Hook, grab some supplies, and we're off to the ruins. Now, something I've noticed while doing these runs is that first quest in the ruins is not random at all. Everything about it is the same every time. Rooms, curios, monster teams, obstacles, even traps are in pretty much the same spot. I'm not sure if there's a secret room, but if there is, it probably is in the same spot always too. First room right over here will always have 2 skellies with clubs, which should not be a problem in any way. Second hallway begins with a rubble pile, and ends with your second battle. I like to call these 3 Level 1 Crook, Level 15 Hitman, and Level 100 Boss. Just like my awfully outdated jokes, this one shouldn't be dangerous, but might give you some stress. Next here you have a choice. Up top there always is a backpack in the hallway, and a room battle with heirloom chest treasure inside. You'll have to defeat a couple of cultists and a skelly over there. On the right there is a sack in the hallway and a holy fountain curio protected by a bunch of skellies, including a crossbow. Personally I prefer to go for the treasure chest first, as I can later heal up on the fountain, given I still have the holy water of course. I think that's the way to go, but I suppose it's just a matter of preference. Both following hallways have traps in them. Then there is one more backpack and then pretty much nothing else till the end. By now the quest is already complete, but if you're willing to explore further, there is another elm chest waiting for you in the last room. There is one more rubble in the hallway though. And the thing you shall face at the end of this dungeon shall be... Oh no. Not this thing. This monster. This monstrosity. Anything but that tempting goblet guy. This fiend has been hunting my dreams. I've had people go crazy just at the thought of him. I cannot let him do this anymore. I shall put a stop to his filthy, bony shenanigans. Yeah! Oh. Well, that was easy, thankfully. But he will be back! He always comes back! Well, I guess this is it for the first Ruins quest. We can now go back to the hamlet and meet up with our new... Oh. Remember when I said I always forget about something on the first week in the hamlet? Yeah, well... Take a look at this. As soon as you arrive for the first time in the hamlet, you can upgrade your stagecoach straight away. In fact, if you trade some heirlooms, you can upgrade it once more so that when you come back from your first quest, you have a completely fresh team waiting for you. That way you can send all your stressed people to do all kinds of cool stuff to cool off. Isn't that just a great plan? Well, good thing I thought about that earlier. Okay. Alright, no worries, Mondaisy. Bounty is good, Musketeer is bae. It's gonna be fine. We just have to survive one quest. Second quest shouldn't be too bad either, right? Just regular ruins again. Let's see here. A group of thugs and group of cultists. Reynold being selfish, Reynold taking my shit! A group of skellies, a pack of spiders. Oh no! A death's door! Oh no, a goblet! No, this girl's crazy. Okay, still breathing. Oh no, a madman! I despise all madmen! Bounty is sick to know! And know my bait too! Stop. Here we have a perfect example of the most lethal disease one can get. Commencing autopsy 3. Time 21:04. 27-year-old female infected with unknown pathogen. Blood analysis indicates possible brain damage. Provisional name is I should run, but on the other hand, look, they're almost dead already, disorder. Deceased had traveled to Ruins about a week ago before embarking once again this week. There must have been pre-quarantine. Unknown if had contact with livestock, but I can definitely see evidence of Wolverine-like close stabs. Deceased had reported feeling very stressed and compelled to pierce her own skin with sharp objects. I'm seeing a nasty rash, some abscesses around the abdominal cavity. Cause of death appears to be catastrophic organ failure. Findings match the reports for the rest of the team. This is highly concerning. Oh no, we're all dead!
A setback, but not the end of things.
The end of things. I'm pretty sure it's the end of things.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Yes, I've restarted. Yeah, that's right. What are you looking at? Continuing to play that campaign was like shooting myself in the knee. I had no experienced heroes, it was the second week, I lost a quarter of my maximum death capacity and accomplished practically nothing. I hardly even started a campaign. It's like I started with the death limit of 12 instead of 16, and time limit of 98 weeks. Everything about this situation screams start over, you doof. This is a very bad run. So that being said, we're starting over. My second run started with another spark of hope as Dismas focused his way through the transcendent terror. Thankfully this time I remembered to upgrade the stagecoach right off the bat. To get more divine odds on our side, I've decided to recruit Theocracy and God. A bit of prep and once more the first Ruins quest. This time, I managed to get through it with no afflicted heroes. I even snatched some blood on the way. Something interesting that happened is that my Dismas got the Twilight Dreamer quirk, which allows him to ignore all stealth. You know, as rare as stealth is, this trait has a lot of potential on Highwayman, especially on the high-level dungeons where there's a lot of stealthy enemies, so that's always something good. So anyway, we're back to the hamlet again, and you can meet our new... Whoa, antiquarian. Isn't that lovely? Great, antiquarian is a great investment in my future. But it's not the time to take her on any run yet. No. This whole gimmick with upgrading the stagecoach is more of a safety net than anything else. You know, in case someone did get afflicted on the first quest. Last campaign it was necessary, this campaign it wasn't necessary. Well, bugger me, yeah, but whatever. What I like to do instead is taking my Vestal and Plague Doctor after completing the first ruins onto yet another quick run, so that they're on the exact same resolve level as Dismas and Reynold. Just to sort of keep the integrity of the usual suspects even more, you know, together. What we needed is 2 good front characters. Luckily on the stagecoach there had been a bounty hunter and a leper. My love, I missed you so much, just like you always miss with your sword. The quest went quite well, except Theocracy got stressed and I was sure I can't get lucky so many times in a row, so I've tried to... At this point I started to assume my heroes just can't become afflicted anymore. I wasn't sure if this was really the hard difficulty. Thankfully my leper was kind enough to rid me of any doubts. I guess we got a handsome bunch of gold, but nothing else much happened on that quest. Oh no, the bloody buzzers! God damn it. I guess Courtyard wants me to pay a visit, I suppose. But there's something else in my schedule right now. It's the 3rd week. Usual suspects are relatively well rested and have been equalized on low level 1. It's time to venture out into the farmstead. I actually really like this place. I have to say I haven't played Color of Madness DLC before these Bloodmoon attempts, but I immediately fell in love with this place. While not being as painfully frustrating as Courtyard, it had this thrill of the unknown. It might have been just the novelty of it, but I genuinely felt like this was my favorite location in the game. There was something eerie about the way everything looked. Like, even the very darkest dungeon, with its fleshy abominations, never had a feel quite as otherworldly as the farmstead has. The shifting time and space, constant light blue glow everywhere, levitating objects, crystallized husks of things that used to work around here. It sends chills down my spine. I absolutely love this. But anyway, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We only get a small taste of madness this time around. We have to take down 20 monsters, and although they do get troubling at times, our hopes shone bright, and we managed to get through them without bigger problems. And yes, we were victorious. We came back. I took a look at the stagecoach. Well, but pretty good, yeah, yes. More people. Then I took a look at our coffers and I thought, I would like another 0 right here. What do you think is the solution, Mrs. Krabs?
Money!
That's exactly what I had in mind too! And this is why you and this team of other orientally dressed people, and a dude, you're gonna go and earn me some money. Now, I absolutely love Antiquarian. She's one of the most useful characters in this game. In the least expected way you could think, which is actually very easy to miss if you're a new player. I know, because I have missed that for a long time. So anyway, her abilities are pretty good for survival in the battle. For starters, she has a few good evasive moves like Get Down or Protect Me. Apart from that, she has some very light heal, a smoke bomb and a super useful Invigorating Vapors. It's a team-wide dodge buff. Now, I can't stress how good dodge is in this game. Dodging is an incredibly powerful mechanic on its own, but that alone is a topic for another time, perhaps. Her Nervous Stab is another thing I enjoy a lot, which can actually do some decent amount of damage, enough to finish off weakened enemies anyway. Festering Toxins are a little weak blight attack, but like any kind of blight attack, it should never be undermined, as you know, damage per turn is pretty dang useful. So she's a pretty decent buffer-debuffer support character. But, of course, the actual moment when this character shines brightest is outside combat. And by that, I of course mean... Oh yes, give me more of this! Any kind of hallway curio or treasure examined by Antiquarian has a chance to drop these antiques. Beautiful findings that are worth unholy amounts of gold. Moreover, thanks to her, all the gold you have stacks all the way up to 2,500, which is 750 more than normally, for every stack of money you own. What can I say, this is just amazing, man! I love having runs with Antiquarian because I walk in there, poor man, and I walk out feeling like I own all the banks in America. This feeling is the best. Look, the very first battle on this quest kicked my ass so hard and left me in such a terrible position that I honestly considered retreating. And then I received 1k for the battle, decided to continue a bit further, got another 1k there, and another there. My god, gaining money feels so damn good! And that's not it! With the newfound hope and a new capacity for that sweet glittering substance, we actually managed to push through this entire quest with some hiccups here and there, but alas, we came back, bringing with us more wealth than we had in the coffers before we embarked.
Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs!
Oh yes, this was a very lovely start to a campaign. What we needed to do now is clear the path to the Necromancer, but this week Thing from the Stars was roaming that area, and believe me, you do not want to fight it if the level of your characters is lower than 2. I recruited some new mercenaries and chose to go to the Warrens. Now, Warrens are probably the region I feel least comfortable with visiting. Ruins? Yeah, stressful as hell. Weld? Yeah, teeming with blight. Cove? Blood spills everywhere. And yet, none of those seem to be as unpredictable as whatever the hell happens in the Warrens. I believe it's because enemies there have a nasty habit of inflicting damage per turn effects alongside the high damage. I don't know if it's just me, or if there really is something specific about this place, but what I can safely say is that situations like this, that would not be lethal by the standards of other locations, in this place, they end like this. Terrifyingly often, actually. I still wonder what I could have done to avoid this situation. My guess is higher light level, but other than that, I have no idea. Maybe I should have targeted the Big Pig Boy from the start. Big Pig Boy! Another guy who has butchered so many people! Ugh. In any case, yes, this is bad. I've lost my first character on 5th week, and eventually I had to flee the quest altogether. Overall, our first loss, but unlike last time, not the terminal one. There's still plenty of blood for us to shed here. I simply resumed my original idea. The Thing from the Stars was no longer in the ruins, so I sent out the usual suspects to clear out the path to the boss. And also reach the oh-so-lovely level 2. We had our team on level 2 now, which meant that they are ready to slay the Necromancer. However, they couldn't possibly do that without de-stressing a little first. They needed another little break week. And so, still remembering my loss from before, I decided to venture out into the Warrens once again. I tried to stay extra vigilant this time though, so as to prevent any kind of fatal injuries. And there he was, the Big Pig Boy once again. Right here, in the very first battle. I was shaking at the very sight of him. I was shaking. But thankfully this time he didn't manage to find an opening like previously. And soon, we've managed to triumph over him. I was hoping I won't have to deal with these Big Pig Boys anymore on this quest, and I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. Probably the shortest thing I've ever seen, but I'll take it any day. If there is one thing good about Warrens is that thanks to the map layout, the skirmish quests are pretty likely to end really fast, after as much as one battle. True, same may happen in other locations too, but here you have a higher chance of picking that room as the first one you walk into, as there is more connections between rooms. Anyway, no reason to be mad about it. I'm actually very relieved that it's over. Whew. Now, it's time to get to the fun stuff. It's time for our first assault on the Necromancer. Necromancer serves as a great introductory boss to the Darkest Dungeon, as he really doesn't have anything truly lethal up his sleeves, so new players really don't have to worry about being surprised. His main gimmick is that he raises a skeleton after every single attack. Besides that, he has some heavy stress and light damage abilities. The difficulty of this boss is largely dependent on your performance on your way to him in the dungeon. If you gain a lot of stress along the way, it might be problematic, as he might pin you down with a heart attack. The starting team of usual suspects is usually enough to defeat him with no problem. Everyone should be able to whittle him down relatively easy, while Reynold or Dismas make short work of incoming undead as they come. He is one of the easier bosses, if not the easiest boss of the whole game. But despite that, he's also one of the most satisfying for me. It really feels like his death is an important step in cleansing the ruins of the living dead. With first boss of this gem defeated, we can now focus on sorting out this cursed garden that's been hindering my stress facilities lately. But our usual suspects need a quick break before they can go, so this gives me an idea. I feel like I need some more of this glittering gold. Oh yes, please! Ah, yes! Yes! Slay more! Drive the corruption out! Get gold! Gold! Oh yes! Such lovely bounty. Such treasures. Such victories unending.
As life ebbs,
Oops.
terrible vistas of emptiness reveal
I'm
themselves.
a skedaddle now.
Skirmish may be
Good thing
lost.
that on exploration quests, entering a room battle and retreating from it still counts as a successful exploration.
Many fall
That's a little
in the face of
detail
chaos,
worth noting.
but not
It
this
may
one.
save your ass. At last, we're done with everything. We have well-experienced heroes with leveled up abilities and decent weapon and armor upgrades. We may finally get rid of those pesky mosquitoes. We're ready to break into the sealed-off courtyard and deal with whatever monstrosities hide within. First quest in the courtyard, much like first quest in general, is almost exactly the same every time. It's a little different every run, so I won't go into detail like I did other time. I will mention, however, things that you should take when venturing out into the courtyard. You're going to need a couple of shovels, some torches, and a bunch of bandages. If you have some blood, take at least one. Now, this first quest is actually very stressful for me every time. I'd say I'm not as worried about the very first Darkest Dungeon as I am worried about this. Why, you ask? Well, first of all, every second attack that is dealt here is a stress fest. Is it the mosquito's turn or mine? Will I dodge it or will I not? Will it infect me or will it not? The stress goes away as soon as your heroes get infected, but of course the Crimson Curse is nothing to be happy about either. So it's either super stressful or a very bittersweet relief. Mostly bitter though.
And don't even get me started on what you have to face at the end of this quest. My god! Oh.
Literally one of the most troubling things I had to face in this game. The absolute worst fiend, and I'm not even being sarcastic this time. But the tempting goblet, that's just, you know, it's a skelly. You slay it, it's gone. It's fine, it may stress you. I said it's a fiend cause he's a pain in the ass. This thing here, this is a... I could rant about him all day. And I'm talking, of course, about the one and only...
Cocodrilo.
Now, I'll just say straight away what I think deeply. This boss is effed right up. Every time I face it, I end up shaking, like literally shaking in my seat. And it's not the good kind of shaking from thrills or whatever. It's literal freaking fear fest. Its only specific gimmick is a bunch of cattail that's hanging around that makes positioning a pain in the ass. And then there is this ridiculous healing ability, and all the insane crits that just happen to happen every round. And don't even get me started on that freaking teeth rake, alright? I had witnessed how this goddamn crocodile devoured some 4 teams of heroes. It's goddamn ridiculous. Am I really that unlucky? Well, no. Not exactly that unlucky. It's actually worse. Take a look at this. Here I am trying to cope with this fight and heal up a bit. And then right here my PD gets a crit for 14 damage, which throws her onto the death's door, applies bleeding, and messes up my placement. Thankfully she got a virtue. If she became afflicted on top of all of that, I swear I would have to Alt F4 this shit. I decided to flee from the combat, because I could already see how this would go. I could already see that death blow caused by bleeding. I decided to not take that chance. And there I was again, standing in the hallway, wondering if I should retreat or walk back in. On one hand, I could escape and prepare better. But how? How exactly? What did I do wrong here? I seriously cannot picture why this quest would be any easier than it was now if I retreated and came back later. In fact, I was in a better position because I had one virtue in the team, a guaranteed one, because it's already there. If I retreated and came back, I wouldn't have a guaranteed one anymore. And heart attacks are one of the most common deaths that I get. Moreover, if I didn't complete this quest, the town would still be abuzz, and stress facilities would still be weaker. Not to mention that wasting time like this on Bloodmoon campaign is not really a thing you want to do a lot. So anyway, I figured my chances aren't getting any better than this, even if I retreat. And so, healed up, I walk back in for a second try. And it starts off better. We got some dodges at the start, we dealt some light damage. I tried to stun it, but fail.
And then my Plague Doctor gets another crit for 14 damage, which once again throws her onto the death's door, applies bleeding, and messes up my goddamn placement.
Dismas's turn. I decide to take another retreat. This time I failed. She didn't even get to bleed out, and I bet same thing would have happened if I hadn't retreated the previous time.
Well, I have lost a party member on this absolutely mandatory quest, so now it's even more harmful for my campaign if I retreat. And you know what? Nobody else got bullshit executed like Plague Doctor after she died. What in the smoldering hell is this crocodile? And you know what else? We would have been fine if this bitch wasn't healing for 12 health every f***ing round. Look at this. There was a point where he had only 3 HP. 3 HP. Psych! Nope! Haha, lol, XD dab. It's actually 15 again! Haha, healing! Yeah, healing abilities are so fun on a boss like this. Your entire team is dead, dude! Your entire campaign is no longer salvageable. You lost again to the RNG! Because this shit was so unlikely that I have no idea how else to call it. That's right. This is a loss. And this time, a terminal one. I think I had enough for one go. Congratulations, Bloodmoon, you've defeated me today. But know that this isn't the end. I shall come back for you, yet again. And again, with even more vigilance every time.